Hey, yo, what's good? It's Andrew from travelingguitars.com. Today I'm talking to you guys about harp guitars. I really enjoyed researching this topic over the last few days just because I've come into contact with a couple people, like, some rep from Beard Cell Guitars, and also the guy who ran harpguitar.net, and he was just talking about some interesting things that I thought were kind of cool, notably that he actually co-designed Timberline guitars, which I'm going to show you down here right now. You can see on my desktop right here. It's basically a harp guitar that's relatively inexpensive. It's only about $3,000 for a really good one. You can get even a cheaper one for about $1,000. But either way, I thought that was pretty cool because just a few years ago, like when I first started listening to Antoine Dufour and I don't know how to say his name, but Andy McKee and Antoine Dufour and Eric Mongrain and all these people, from mostly a lot of people on Candy Rat Records. But when I first started listening to these people, harp guitars were extremely expensive. Like if you wanted to get one, you would have to pay like 10 grand at minimum. Anyway, that's kind of what this video is about. It's just about like how much a harp guitar is and where you can find them. And after asking people, after asking around, I was told by a few people that it's about 10 grand. You'd pay about 10,000 US to 12,000 US for like a regular harp guitar. Of course, you could pay more. You could pay up to like 20 grand, and you could get one for 5,000. That's maybe not as good, but because of Timberline guitars, you can get them a little cheaper now. You can get one for like 1,000 to 3,000. But you can kind of see what they look like in this image here. Like you got this one right here. I don't know who these are made by. I forget when I grabbed the image from Wikimedia Commons. But either way, it's a really cool instrument. Like I'm definitely gonna get one of these days. I'm gonna get a Timberline one. Pay $1,500 for a nice little harp guitar. Maybe $2,000, just because I don't know. I want to make sure I get something decent. I don't want to. I don't just want a guitar for the sake of having it. Like I want to actually play it. I'm going to play some songs on it, like, Gates of Nomera and, Into the Ocean from Andy McKee and Paroxysm from Antoine Dufour and all these other people. But anyway, so just to answer a few questions about this, I thought it was kind of interesting talking about it because it was like kind of like a combination of politics and economics when I was writing this article. And, just about the question about why they cost so much. And, I think there's a few reasons for that. Of course, the materials and all of that goes without saying, like the materials to make it and so on and so forth. But it's like, well, how come a Gibson Les Paul is like cheaper than the average harp guitar? Like surely there's plenty of material that goes into those too. But I think a big reason why the harp guitars cost so much is just because the market is so small for them, but the demand for them is high within that small market. And not only that, but because the market is small, it's like only a small group of people are actually making harp guitars. You know what I mean? Like, how many people even know about harp guitars? There's not very many people who even know about them to begin with. Like, mostly just guitar players. And not only just guitar players, but like a certain section of guitar players know about harp guitars. It's not like every guitar, like I didn't even know about the harp guitar until I had played for like 8 years, So it's like, not a lot of people know about them, and I didn't find out about them until I started listening to Andy McKee and people like that, who are fantastic players, by the way. Like, if you haven't seen like Into the Ocean from Andy McKee or any Antoine Dufour videos, highly recommend watching it. Like The Drive Within from Antoine Dufour is dope, and he had a bunch of other great tunes too. Like I used to listen to Antoine and Andy like every day, because for a little while I liked playing acoustic guitar like that. I'll probably get back into it, but lately I just haven't been. I've been so busy, working on my websites and stuff that I haven't played and made as much music as I normally would. But anyway, another reason why harp guitars are so expensive is because they're handmade, right? Like, anytime something is handmade by someone, it's going to be way more expensive. It takes way more time. It takes way more effort, materials, time, resources. Like, it just kind of goes without saying that, if it's made by one person and not like a gigantic manufacturing plant, it's going to cost money. You're going to pay for it, So that's a big reason why. And they're also, like, if you take a look at harpguitar.net, I think that's what it's called, harpguitar.net, harpguitars.net. He has a big list of all the people who are still making harp guitars. Like, there's a big list of people who actually makes these guitars. And I feel like the idea that you get from this, though, is that like there's not a ton of people who are actually making them, you know? And like there's like, sure, yeah, I mean, there's maybe 50 people around the world who are making them, but it's not a lot, you know? It's not like a electric guitar or acoustic guitar where there's so many different people who make them. And many of the people on this list are like people who don't even do it anymore. Like they're, as it says here, they're occasional or first time or retired. But, you know, it goes without saying that an implication of this list is that there's just not a lot of people who are doing it, you know? So I found that kind of interesting. So it's like if you want like a handmade guitar or a handmade harp guitar, you have to like go find one of these people and they'll make one for you. Unless you just want to get one from Timberline. But there was one guy who really had some dope harp guitars in here, and I forget where they are. But I found they were the most tasteful looking harp guitars that I've seen. Because to be honest, like they're kind of like, yeah, they're not the best looking instruments. You know what I mean? Like they're really not the best looking instruments. But anyway, they sound awesome though. They're really cool. Another reason, what was I saying before? Oh yeah, they're produced in nations with higher wages. So like when you take a look at that list that I just had on the screen, like there's so many people who they make them in. They're from Canada, they're from France, they're from United States, they're from Italy, they're from Spain, they're from United Kingdom. Like they're not from like Indonesia or China or Mexico, which is where a lot of the so-called poverty models are made. Because, you know, the manufacturing costs are much lower in those countries. But you know, just to sum up that point, it's like they're made in places where it costs more money for the labor. You know, like someone, you know, you're paying like a Gibson tech, for example, you know, like let's say $25 an hour, the woodworking guy, but maybe in Indonesia, you're paying like $5 an hour. I don't actually know the price of what an Indonesian worker would be getting paid, but I imagine it's significantly lower, you know? There's a reason why harp guitars cost what they do, and it has mostly to do with, you know, the market for them, the fact that they're handmade, the fact that they're produced in nations with higher wages and they're made for people who have higher wages, and also because it's like to a select type of person. Like you're selling, you know, like when you're selling a harp guitar, it's to a certain kind of person. You know, with electric guitars, for example, the market is so large that you can have people who pay $5,000 for a guitar, $2,500 for a guitar, $1,000 for a guitar, $500 for a guitar, and even like $200 for a guitar. Like the market is so big and large. But with harp guitars, like the kind of person who is paying for a harp guitar, it's like someone who's really into playing the guitar. It's not a beginner, you know. It's someone who's willing to fork out the money. And that's another reason why they cost what they do, is just because people will pay for it. But anyway, this video was really all over the place. I hope you learned something from it anyway. And then I'll see you in the next one. All right? Peace.